Good evening, everyone. Everyone's running amongst in an era of corporate competitiveness, trying to excel in something they know, let it be coding, core, managerial skills, hospitality, so on and so forth. In all these streamlined chaos, no one ever thinks of leaping over the wall of their forte. Trying, excelling, and even pursuing a career in something different from the original plan is rarely witnessed scenario. While it may not always be successful, it surely leads to a surprising result. The ones who make a difference and do something to distinct compared to the flock are always celebrated. Entrepreneurship fits perfectly in this bracket. Startup culture is in bloom and is rising rapidly in our country. But along with the excitement surrounding startup culture, there is a big surge of uncertainty in the minds of young thinkers. Fear of uncertainty about the future and the weighing out between risks and rewards daunt them. What's a better way to put those issues to rest and to motivate us to think differently and smartly than to learn from a veteran along those lines, to learn and inculcate? We have with us Mr. Anuj Jindal, co-founder and CEO of Sureclaim, and he'll be talking on the topic how to explore different domains in our career. It's a pleasure to have you with us here, sir.
Thanks, Vasti. Okay, so it's very interesting introduction. I had something else in mind to start off with, but I think I will sort of change the sequence in which I wanted to go. So I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so I'm used to just drawing some things. So rather than giving a boring view of the CV, I just wanted to highlight a few things so as to help you understand the model around how you should think careers. And by the way, whatever you will see is not a very uncommon thing. I know a lot of my batchmates, my seniors, my juniors from NIT or elsewhere who've done really interesting things in their careers. So I think there are certain myths that we need to challenge today, right? So we'll quickly jump. So I graduated in 2005 from NIT in mechanical engineering. That's the first dibba. And then I joined TCS in Mumbai. I joined in open source. I worked for about 1.5 years. So that's my start of my tech journey, right? So from mechanical specialization, I jumped into IT, and within IT, I started with open source, and then I moved into proprietary application, which is SAP. And I got trained, certified as an ABAP developer, and again worked for 1.5 years. So from my core engineering specialization to my first job, I sort of flipped, right? I could explore, but this is something that happens at a campus level. We hardly have a control on that. That's part of our destiny. But at TCS, I could move from open source, a consulting kind of a role, into a more back-end developer kind of a role, something that people really crave for during those times, coding karna hai, right? So I started into consulting. I was really upset for the first 1.5 years. Arey yaar, main kya kar raha hu? I'm just making PPTs. And from that role, I moved into core developer role. But then in parallel to that, something that I've forgotten to highlight here, I also volunteered with the social arm of TCS called as TCS Maitri, where I sort of developed this entire flavor of working in the social sector, and that sort of led me to join XIM Bhubaneswar and pursue my MBA in rural management. So you'll say, "Arey yaar, you were doing acha khasa job, you were into tech, you were in SAP," and something that was really people used to aspire for, into developer role, and still I left that to do my MBA in rural management. Kya gaay bhaiso ke beech mein ja rahe ho? What do you want to do with rural? But that was something that I was passionate about. And while I was there, my core interest area, so to say, was to get into social research. I really just love to look at problem statements, talk to people, figure out what people are thinking, how do we devise strategies, things like that, right? So social research was something of great interest to me. But as luck would have it, during my campus placement, I was placed with Manipal Group, and that starts my healthcare journey. That's the orange part, where I and my my joining Manipal Group was serendipity. I just liked the recruitment process. It is not that I wanted to be there. It is not something that it was my aspiration. It was the first company that I sat in the campus. I was a gold medalist. I was doing very good academically, but just out of curiosity, I sat in the process and I got placed there. And that's how my healthcare journey started. I worked with Manipal hospitals, just running the floor operations, managing the outpatient departments with about 1,500 patients visit a day. And that is something that I ran for a year, right? And so think about how the career is changing almost every 1.5 to 2 years. So about 4 years of engineering, then into open source in IT, then into core development, then 2 years into rural management with a focus on social research, jumping into hospital industry, doing core hospital operations without any background. I learned everything on the job myself. I taught myself. And then after a year, I was moved into another unit of Manipal Hospital in Bangalore itself, where I was leading the hospital expansion. So I needed to learn how to do hospital planning, how do you design ICUs, operation theaters, how do you design rooms, how do you design maternity wards, how do you desigend entrance, reception areas, how do you design areas where, you would put all your backend stuff. I did hospital quality, I did hospital tech at that point in time. So within domain itself, you diversify, right? In the same job of a hospital, my role changes. In the same job at TCS, my role changes. Within MBA, my preference changes. And then after that period, I attempted my first sort of startup or company, whatever you may call it. I ran an operations and marketing management consultancy on my own. It was a bootstrapped business. So, while at that time, India had started seeing startups, but this is something that I try to run as a profit business. I used to travel between Ajmer, Kochi, Bijapur, Bangalore, Chandigarh, so many places I had my clients. So that's something that I ran for 2 years. So from in core operations, getting into consulting, trying to charge consultancy fee to customers upfront, B2B sales, basically, right? I learned sales here. So many of the experiences that are happening by now is something that I'm just learning, basic fundamental things. During that period of time, in 2013, I also tried to build a platform. If you know of Practo, it was already known at that time. It was a marketplace to search doctors. I was trying to build a marketplace to search labs and diagnostic tests. I call it as Recover. I worked on it for 4 months. I had no clue how to build a company, and sort of it flopped. It just could not get off the floor. And then in 2014, I just stopped my business because I got married. I need to settle down someplace. I used to travel a lot. So I joined Mill Fertility. So from a multi-speciality chain, I joined a single specialty chain called as Mill Fertility, and I was handling operations there. Just a sec. And then from core healthcare, so that's the orange line, right? So sort of to depict. Now we're back to healthcare now. This is also healthcare, but then it is bootstrap business consultancy. This is again core hospital operations. But here I'm trying to consolidate operations across a 4 hospital chain, which is something that I ran for about a year or so. And then I moved into health tech. So I joined Quickle Technologies in 2015, which was acquired by Practo the same year. And there I was heading the entire enterprise operation for South India. Now this is the blue line where I am sort of consolidating my so many experiences. I know technology, I know healthcare, I've run business, and I'm also somebody who can sell, right? During my course of running my own consulting time. So blue is the line where I was able to bring together, connect the dots for whatever was happening in the past. And then this is, historic in nature. I'm trying to connect the dots in the past. And then in 2017, I started my company, Sureclaim, which is where I started connecting the dots in future. How was I able to see the future shaping up? And that's a company which was into InsurTech. We built a funded startup. We raised 5 crores in VC capital. And this year we have sold the company to MediAssist Health. That is something which is not known to people. We're still in the middle of the transaction. And so I've sold the company now to a regulated insurance business. So it's a very large company, and I and my partner are joining here as senior vice presidents. So if you see, every 2 years or 3 years, there is something changing in the career. So, and within the same line, there is a switch that is happening. And that is because that is the very nature of our careers today. If I know that I have to be in healthcare itself, I'm trying to learn various aspects of healthcare by running core operations, by building a bootstrap business within that, exploring health tech, building an insure tech, and now into core insurance business. But of course, which is a health insurance sort of a line, right? Yeah. Does it perplex you? How does somebody handle that level of complexity? And by the way, there are people I know of who change industries almost every single year. I've at least married to healthcare and insurance for the last 10 years or so. And if you look at series of even not so successful people, you will see the kind of diversity that I just showed you, right? Even the same line, your role keeps changing. So when we are at the, when we are in the middle of our BTech, we are sort of thinking about, the first job or the first 2-3 years. We look at, I am a civil engineer. I can only do these things. I'm a comp science guy. I can only do this. I'm an EC guy. I can do this. So the statement, first of all, I would like to make to you guys is that your qualifications do not define you. I mean, I had no background into insurance, and I still build an insurance startup, which is one of the most respected one in its industry. We in fact created an entire category of claim advisory, a consumer side claim advisory company. We built the first of its kind technology on this planet. Nobody has a claim creating or claim manufacturing technology in this in this world. We created first of its kind. In many ways, you are talking to Musk on this call, right? Musk was the first one to bring the rocket back and land it here. So I'm nothing short of Musk. I would not mince words, right? Of course, I'm not the richest man on the planet. However, your ambition matters a lot. You should not be really worried about the outcome of it. Ki yaar Musk bane, ki Anuj Jindal bane. That is really not the worry here. But the question is, how compelled are you by your motivations to pursue certain interesting things in your career, in your jobs? I know of people who have been, like, now that I've become part of MediAssist, I know here people who have been here for 9 years, 10 years, and they have looked at every single role. So they've done back end, front end, not just saying technology, I'm saying services, business, operations, everything people have done. So while you're in the same company, same industry, you still explore every 2 years a new facet of your own company, your own industry, and that makes you more well-rounded, right? So the concept that it's a second concept that I'm leaving with you guys is, if you saw my sort of flow, at some point in time, I connected the dots backwards, which is healthcare, technology, business, sales, etc., right? And then once I started my company, I started connecting the dots forward. I was trying to see how the world will move. Of course, it comes with a certain maturity. I gained that maturity at the age of 33, 34. The people who started Zepto got that maturity while they were still in the college, right? So they could see, or if you look at the guy who started OYO, he had the maturity to see that experience matters. And so he started from that point onwards. Shashank Andy, who started Practo at college itself, there were again college buddies who started. They could connect the dots forward. That okay, this is how technology, healthcare, everything will shape up, and there are so many of us who try to do that. And that sort of brings me to what I had prepared for, and which is a couple of questions for you guys. And you don't need to answer it right now, but you should write down those questions also if you wish to. But think about it. What is the purpose of work? काम क्यों करते हैं? Right? Beyond a certain point in time, 2 jobs will pay you the same amount. Then why do you choose to work in A and not in B? Or when you are in A, why would you prefer to do B? Some of us may even say, यार A में ज़्यादा मिल रहा है, B में कम मिल रहा है, लेकिन मुझे B में ज़्यादा मजा आएगा. So a lot of people would even quit A to pick up something B, which is cheap, doesn't pay that much. Why does that happen? Why some of us get paid more for doing the same job that other people are doing, and they're really not happy about getting paid more? why there are a lot of people who are at IIMs and IITs get a 1 crore ka package and they just leave that package and they start something, right? So if you read about Vinita from Sugar Cosmetics, so she had that kind of an offer and she said, sorry, I don't want to do it. And she struggled a lot in the first 3 or 4 ventures. And when they started Sugar again, it was not an easy journey for those guys. And now people know them as successful people. You saw her on Shark Tank and everything. But then, boy, that has been a very tough journey. And if you look at, say, APJ Abdul Kalam also, it will not be an easy journey to become a president of the country, right? It was not an easy thing for him to do Pokhran, for example. It's all stressful. So the question that you need to ask yourself is, what is the purpose of work? Why I'm doing it? Of course, at your age, you will have some limited understandings. Some people will be a lot more mature. They'll have a lot more understanding. You have access to internet. You guys are addicted to internet at much younger age. So your knowledge, you're basically not limited by books or library. You're not limited by idiots like me who are standing and coming and talking, right? In our time, people had to come in the campus to talk. And today you could be on YouTube and listen to anybody on this planet virtually, right? I am, for example, I'm going back and listening to videos of Musk, of Jeff Bezos, and some of these videos I've seen several years back. But I'm just now, in my own understanding today of my state, I'm revisiting those videos and trying to understand what is the purpose. What is it that I can build from here? I've built a startup. I've sold the startup. I am at a certain point in my career. I'm making good salary. A number that some people are envy of. But then, क्या करूँ इसके बाद? I'm all 38, 39 years of age. खत्म career, finish. क्या करें इसके बाद, right? So, and I told you in my industry, I'm the Musk. So what do we do from here, right? That's a very important question. So I sort of wrote down a few reasons. Money is a big motivator, right? A lot of people just do work for the purpose of money. But these are the people who are at the bottom of the Maslow's hierarchy. रोटी कपड़ा मकान के लिए झगड़ा है तो उनके लिए काम करना पड़ता है. Are you guys into that category? Yes, to some extent, right? But then you have to figure out. यार मैं इतना पढ़ाई लिखाई कर करके भी मैं कहना रोटी कपड़ा मकान वाले क्वेश्चन में फंसा हूं, then there's something terribly wrong with me. So that's one question to ask. Second one is the fame an important reason for you to work? For example, people who paint, people who write songs. Right? If you ask Badshah, for example, he would say, "यार पैसा तो हो ही जाएगा, लेकिन एक मस्त बनाना, hit बनाना, right?" So fame is important for those guys. So is that something that drives you? Is that the purpose of your work? Is power the purpose of your work? I want to be a very solid person. And जो लोग politician बनते हैं, for example, student union के अंदर चौधरी बनते हैं सारे के सारे. Power is something that drives them. लोग, मैं नेता हूँ, लोग मेरी बात सुननी चाहिए, right? और some people who say मुझको CEO बनना है, जल जाती है कुर्सी पे बैठ के, लेकिन लोगों को चस्का बहुत होता है, CEO बनना है मेरे को. And I've been CEO once, right? And now I have a CEO here in the company who says मेरी जॉब कोई और ले लो. So it's fun, right? I mean, the CEO and CTO have this kind of a thing, just swap मारते हैं अपनी नौकरी को. CTO says तो रख ले भाई, मेरे को नहीं बनना. So is power something that drives you? Then comforts. Like some of us believe that work is a comfort. So people who go to a Microsoft, I mean, that is what I remember of. I don't know how it is life now, but people who go to Google, Microsoft, like, शांति की जिंदगी है, आराम से. Right? Is it something that you want to have a work-life balance? You say, यार ठीक है, this job will take me to US के अंदर standard of living है, Europe में standard of living है, आराम से करते हैं यार, मेरे को कुछ बड़ा नहीं आदमी नहीं बनना, लेकिन ठीक है, I am able to earn decent living in those countries, right? So is the purpose of work for you getting comfort of life? That's it. You don't want to be somebody big. Is recognition an important part of your work? I want to be known for this thing, or this thing should be known by my name, right? So is recognition something very important to you? बहुत सारे लोग तो बेचारे क्लस्टर रहते हैं इसी बात को लेके. Nobody recognizes me. Right? Once you join the workforce, that's one of the biggest bitching around that happens. यार मेरा बॉस तो देखता ही नहीं है, appraisal में मार ली मेरी, things like that. Is nation building something that excites you? यार मेरे को कुछ बनाना है, देश को आगे लेके जाना है. Right? A lot of people who join civil services, इतने साल ऐसे तैसे करवाते हैं. A lot of people who have this passion become doctors, for example. Some of us who join PSUs, for example, or some of us even who come into private sector but with an intent कि मेरे को यार देश बनाना है. For example, one of the purpose of my nation building is how can I attract FDI to this country? You know, how do we build businesses that can consume so much of capital? Yeah. So you have ideas that can bring in. So Reliance Jio, for example, भाई ने पहले पैसा अपना खुद का लगाया, बैंकों का लगाया, उसके बाद वो सारी लाइन लगा दी फेसबुक गूगल सबके साथ. That's FDI. That's nation building. He's bringing foreign capital to this country. He's building the name. While you will say अरे अंबानी है, जियो बना रहा है, एंटीना बना ली, बड़ा आदमी बन गया, but then there is an element of nation building, and then there is an element of job creation. Now job creation is not necessarily the responsibility of entrepreneurs alone. People who start new verticals, people who are in key positions in the companies and who are expanding the businesses, for example, they may not be called as founders, but they are able to create jobs in this country. And so that is one way to look at it. Is my work going to create more work in this country? Right? Am I just infatuated by new ideas and innovation? Right? Now, these are the people who flirt a lot. It's very hard for them to get married. लेकिन उसको ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, सब कुछ करना है लोगों को. Okay, of course, with a period of time you settle down, but is your thinking of work यार मुझको सब कुछ करना है. Like if you see my CV, you will say अरे इस बंदे ने तो सब कुछ किया हेल्थ केयर के अंदर, छोड़ा कुछ नहीं है इसने, और अभी भी कुछ नहीं, रुकने वाला नहीं है. I mean, who knows? 3 years from now, I'll be sitting in the policy making side of the country. Who knows? Right? We are very excited about National Health Authority, what it is doing, National Digital Health Mission. 3 साल के बाद मैं कुर्ता पहन के बैठा हूँ यहाँ पे, मोदी जी के साथ फोटो खिंचवा रहा हूँ, we'll be building future of healthcare, आयुष्मान भारत वगैरह. Who knows? Right? So I think when I started by saying that money is one of the motivations for doing work, we should all ask this question to us from time to time, that what is it that I am seeking as a purpose in my work? That's very, very helpful, because that ensures that A, you are happy where you are. B, if you're not happy, you know where to go to seek happiness. Otherwise, फिर वो, बिना डायरेक्शन के लोग लगे रहते हैं घूमने के लिए. So I think that is crucial. The other thing which definitely people should focus on is, अब मुझे मेरा purpose तो समझ में आ गया. Maybe I'm getting the purpose in whatever work I'm doing right now. But then a lot of people may not be able to get the purpose where they are. For example, मेरे को कंपनी चलाने का, बनाने का बहुत चस्का था. मतलब when I was at your age, कॉलेज में था, तभी से मेरे को बड़ा शौक था यार, मेरे को एक कंपनी बनानी है. उस टाइम पर TCS, Infosys, सर्विसेज कंपनी का बहुत चलन होता था. Right? So the idea was, how do we build something which is IT services types. Later on we realized कि चलो product is something which is cool. So now we all build products. And then products के अंदर भी, then you say build in India, build for the world, है ना, more kick-ass. So that's something that now we are in. That's how we think right now. But the question that we think is कि अच्छा अगर मुझे ये पहुंचना है, ये बनाना है, is the path visible to me? है ना, कई लोग तो तड़पते रहते हैं. It took me so many years to become a founder. Right? My first stab at building a tech company was in 2013 with Recov, and I failed miserably. And that is one problem I still carry on my shoulder. I lost my directorship because of some of the nonsense I did in 2013. I will become eligible again in October this year. But how do you reach the destination? What all dance drama you have to do in between to hit that goal? So finally, I was able to build a proper company in 2017. After 4 years, I was not married when I did my first attempt. It was much easier. My second attempt, I was married. There was a lot more pressure from the family. Now there are in-laws also. So you have double friction. There is not single friction, there is double friction of in-laws as well. Then there is wife also, who has the gun. Right? So, which is the next question, which is how impatient are you to achieve that goal? I mean, I was extremely patient, right? And it may be a stupid strategy because why wait, right? जितने पंगे लेने ले लो यार, जल्दी से फटाफट करो. What are you waiting for? So some of the things that I encourage people at your age, that there is nothing to lose, barring whatever you have paid for. There's just absolutely nothing to lose. People are building careers by dropping out of college. So, and by the way, you all have a chance. You're still not in the 4th year. Right? So how impatient are you? What are you willing to put into it? What are your stakes to achieve what you want to achieve? And that all takes you back to the first question, which is, what is the purpose that you seek in your work? You may seek multiple purposes in the same work, which is all fair. I'm not asking you to prioritize. You don't need to. You can chase multiple things in the same thing. For example, I built a funded business and I chase money also. I'm trying to create jobs, but I'm also trying to make money for myself. So perfectly fair thing to do. Right? So I've already taken about half an hour. I'll probably take another 3-4 minutes, but then you guys should start ready to ask questions in case you have. In case you guys don't have question, we'll end the call. Right? So just an alert. But Kunal bhai, in case you have some hint from YouTube, so for Janta on YouTube, in case you're watching, please post your questions here if you have any. I've also requested to understand your profiles. You're from which year, which semester, which specialization, I would like to know. That will be helpful. What I understood is that mostly it is the 2nd and 3rd year guys who are on the call right now, who are connecting with me on Meet. So YouTube data will help me to understand. Koi first year wala galti se to nahi aa gaya. Right? Yeah. So I think when you ask how to choose careers, I think the question points back to you, which is, how flexible are you? How much uncertainty can you handle in life? Okay. And most of all, how scared are you? Right? So I was just watching a video of Musk yesterday night, and he says very interesting thing. So he says, it's not that I do not fear. He says, I'm in fact, I fear a lot, but it's just that I don't care. Beyond that point, right? If he's, and that is his burden, which is that if he just is so, if he just believes that this is something that has to, that must be done or that has to happen, he'll just go do it. The same thing he did with SpaceX or Tesla or whatever other things he has done, or now with Twitter. He just believes, I mean, he feels that burden. Abhi ho gaya, mere dimag mein aa gaya, mere ko karna padega, sorry. Mere dimag mein phas gaya hai. He does with that thing. But it doesn't say that he doesn't have a fear. He fears, right? So it's a healthy thing. But the question is, how much uncertainty can you manage? And it's a painful thing. It's not easy. When my 5 years were really tough, COVID happened. That period was extremely tense, difficult for everybody inside the company. And when we are the last ones on the priority list, we have so many other people to worry about, right? So yeah, that's pretty much from my side. I think there is enough wisdom out there. I have nothing special to add, but I can answer a few of you guys. I can probably help you guys build a framework. If need, we help some of you guys drop out of college as well. I studied from some good colleges. I was academically good as well. I unfortunately now do not give a lot of premium to education. I just do not give a lot of premium to qualifications. Not really used any of that in my career. Yeah. So what do you guys?
Thank you so much for the amazing thoughts that you shared with us today, sir. It was really helpful. One of the things that struck out the most was that the qualification don't define us, and the motivation is what matters, mainly going ahead. Now heading towards the Q&A session. So there's a question that while to choose a domain going ahead after exploring, self introspection is very necessary. What are a few questions that we need to ask ourselves before choosing a particular domain to go ahead with?
Only one question. Do you like it? Everything else is immaterial. See, when you came to NIT, for example, you didn't have much of a choice. इंजीनियरिंग ही करने वाले डॉक्टर तो बन नहीं सकते हो, प्लम्बर तो बन नहीं सकते हो, राइट? जहाज नहीं चला सकते हो, इंजीनियर ही बनोगे. When it comes to your specialization, also very few of us, probably the top 10%, have the choice. Like I had the choice. I could have taken up computer science. I could have taken up ECE. I said मेरे को mechanical करनी है. I was in mechanical. Right? At that time, my dad said, "बड़ा बेवकूफ लड़का है यार ये." How does it matter? I still landed up an IT job. I still build a tech company. Right? I still carry the reputation of a tech entrepreneur. How does it matter? है ना? But mechanical वालों की जिंदगी आसान होती है. करते करते कुछ है नहीं. So I think so. If I have to split the question, one is, do you have a choice or do you don't have a choice? If you have a choice, do something that you like, and then you figure your way from there. People will call you weird, idiot, stupid, whatever. There's no end to it. People will pull you down. Look at so many people who just quit their jobs to become Ola or Uber drivers when the money was good. So many people now want to just विजन है उनकी लाइफ का, मेरे को स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियन बनना है. राइट? स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियन बनना है क्योंकि लाइफ ने उनके साथ जोक किया है. दे वांट टू रिटर्न द फेवर. तो दे लाइक इट. भूखे नंगे घूमते हैं वो, बट दे लाइक इट. ठीक है. राइट?
Yes, sir.
I hope that is a question. That is an answer you like.
Yes, sir. So the next question is posted in the chat box. What are some of the core domains that are still unexplored and can be explored? And should one go for the emerging domains or stick with the core ones?
Okay, so there are 4 or 5 parts of this question. What are the domains not explored, can be explored? Go to Mars. We need to figure out, can we survive in space? Should one go for emerging domains or stick with core ones? The use of the word core is confusing me. I mean, are you asking core engineering domains, or are you asking things which are known, things which are unknown? But I think, again, it goes back to this. If you just cannot stay solitary, you can't become an astronaut. Right? While it looks very fancy, take up a jet, go in there, stay, you watch the Earth from a distance. But then it's pain, right? You just have to stay alone for several months. Is that something you like? That's a question to ask. And I'm pretty sure somebody who's trying to become an astronaut says कि यार unexplored तो है, कौन रुका है स्पेस के अंदर 2 साल के लिए? I will be the first one. I will be the first one to walk on Mars. But then it is a solitary ride. It's something that you will like. So I would say everything is unexplored. Let me make this statement. There is nothing that has been explored yet by humans. Everything is unexplored. Think about it. Now we're saying Web3. हम तो सब अपना अपना चलाएंगे इंटरनेट, हम तो अपना अपना करेंसी चलाएंगे, हमको अपना अपना चाहिए, बहुत हो गया ये, सेंट्रलाइज नहीं करना अपने को, राइट? कौन सोच सकता है यार इंटरनेट पे चला रहे Web3 को बोलो मेरे को डिसेंट्रलाइज करना है. Think there is no limits to human curiosity, and that's a broader answer to this question that what remains unexplored. There's absolutely no limits. Who would have thought कि वो गंदे बेकार से, I mean, your generation has not even used any of those पुराने वाले computers, Windows 97. You haven't seen, I mean, used, right? You don't know what Windows 97 performs. And we never saw or work or put our hands on वो जो Bill Gates वगैरह दिखाया करते थे, that early computers, ugly looking computers. We never had the privilege of touching any of those computers. Never in our fancy dreams also. And now your mobile phones are so damn powerful. And that too, every 4 years, you have more powerful phone coming in. So it surprises you also कि अरे, while I thought this is the limit of it, and somebody has stretched it. AR VR एक time पर आया and people said अरे AR VR है, चलेगा कैसे? And now you are saying अरे, I am going to build metaverse out of it. है ना? Now the entire universe is crazy about metaverse. मस्क भैया आपको दूसरी दुनिया में लेके जा रहा है, बाकी लोग कह रहे हैं यहीं पे रह लो, एक दुनिया हम कुछ और वर्चुअल दुनिया बना देते हैं, राइट? So I'm saying the limitations to human imagination were never there, and today it is just powered by so much of capital, connectivity, access, that it is almost criminal. If I were to say, it's almost criminal that if you can, why would you not? रोक क्या रहा है भाई तुमको, ये बताओ. The only thing you should be worried about is how do I get like-minded people? Because some pursuits require you to find other people. That's the most complex things in the universe. Finding the people who will walk the path with you. That's the most complicated thing. That's the most difficult thing to solve. Everything else in this universe has been solved. Okay? I don't think there is something called as emerging domains or the past ones. Everything is emerging right now. The next question from Harsh is, you mentioned one of the purpose with a question, perpetuity with new ideas. Okay, yeah. Interesting one. So if somebody wants to do everything, how do you find the pathway? Ask Musk. That idiot is running so many companies at the same time. He is the most eligible guy to answer that question. But I'll tell you an answer which is potentially valid at your age, which is, so I hire a lot of interns, and I've seen guys who are in their 3rd year, 4th year, भाई लाइन लगा रखे उन्होंने इंटर्नशिप्स की, लाइन लगा रखी, and I hire from internship 2 महीने की, 3 महीने की, and there are guys who are super specialized into doing digital marketing, super specialized into doing some kind of sales, और people who have extremely diversified. सर मैंने डेटा एंट्री भी किया, डेटा कलेक्शन भी किया, मैंने डिजिटल मार्केटिंग भी करी है, मैंने ये भी किया, मैंने वो भी किया, सब कुछ करके रखा है लोगों ने, राइट? But fact of the matter is they've got some inkling of how you work in an organization, how do you work on a problem statement. Some bright ones will have a lot more perspective, some not so bright ones would have just passed their time, उनको ज़्यादा चमकाने होगा, लेकिन still एंथु बहुत है, तो बहुत कुछ करते रहते हैं लोग. So at your age, the best part is you could do anything by the way of internship. And with COVID, the biggest advantage you guys have is the excuse कि सर मैं तो दूर से करूँगा. So consequently, you could pick multiple internships at the same time. You could be working on several projects at the same time, if the time permits, if your health permits. Or you could do 2 महीने हर 2 महीने गर्लफ्रेंड चेंज करते रहो. कोई सोशल्स थोड़ी खराब होते हैं इसके अंदर, राइट? इस 2 महीने ये किया, 2 महीने ये किया, 2 महीने ये किया, बिल्कुल परफेक्टली वैलिड है. नोबडी इज गोइंग टू से तुम तो गद्दार आदमी हो, वफादार नहीं हो. ओके, एट योर एज इट लुक्स ऑल फाइन. एक्सक्यूज इज मैं तो एक्सप्लोर कर रहा था, perfectly fair, right? And for जनता like us who are a lot more experienced, for example, तो 2 stages के अंदर बताता हूँ. People who are, like I mentioned, TCS के टाइम पर I used to do social work over the weekends. So that's something that explored beyond my work, right? I used to stretch on my weekends. So that was me straddling 2 different careers at that point in time. One is my IT career, one is where I'm just shaping up my mind क्या social में जाना है मेरे को, क्या करना है इसके अंदर. Similarly, when I started working with Manipal, तो शाम को, मतलब my first year was a little stressful, second year was not. तो second year में when I was working in the other hospital, शाम को 5 बजे हम फ्री हो जाते थे. उसके बाद से I just made up a friend, met a friend, उसकी अपनी स्टार्टअप थी. तो ऑफिस से निकला सीधे उसके ऑफिस. स्टार्टअप तो शाम को लेट बैठ के काम करते हैं. सो दिन में पेड काम करता था, शाम को अनपेड काम करता था स्टार्टअप के साथ. ठीक है, तो 3 घंटे 4 घंटे बैठ के पहले स्ट्रेटजी पे डिस्कस किया, फिर टेक्नोलॉजी पे डिस्कस किया, इवेंचुअली सेल्स में आ गया, सब कुछ काम किया. ना डिड दैट फॉर ऑलमोस्ट 8-9 months, एंड दैट गिव मी द कॉन्फिडेंस कि भाई चल तू कुछ ना कुछ तो कर ही लेगा अपने हिसाब से. दैट्स हाउ द कंसल्टिंग स्टार्टेड फॉर मी, राइट? बिकॉज आई हैड ऑलरेडी डन सम वर्क विद अ स्टार्टअप. So I'm actually doing 2-3 different things at the same time. One is running a job and then also working in a startup in a more health tech kind of a thing. So that's something for people who are early in their jobs. And for people like me, it's all about building social connections, networking. I know several people who are at a certain pedigree in their organizations, and so the way we try to do it is एक दूसरे की हेल्प करने में कोशिश करते हैं. And so we try to understand problem from a very deep perspective. I may not be able to spend a lot of hours on a problem given where we are today, but then we're still able to, help out, stretch a little bit. I can't tell you the number of courses, for example, I've attended courses on product growth. I've attended courses on product management. I've attended courses on Web3. And that is also new ideas. I'm just trying to explore. I'm educating myself along with my job. And it's painful. It's very difficult. Right? But करते हैं उसके साथ में 8 हफ्ते के कोर्सेज होते हैं, वीकेंड लगाने पड़ते हैं, सैटरडे लगाने पड़ते हैं, रात को कोर्स चल रहे होते हैं 7:30-8 बजे. You have to listen to somebody who they are in a different time zone, so they will come in the night. You attend those, right? So I think these are the 3 stages that I have seen of. I don't know what is the strategy to follow when you are 50 years of age or 45 years of age. I'm still a couple of years from there. But yeah, these are the last 2 things I've done. Internship is something I never got to do, but I have hired a lot of people who've done this. I hope that answers you, Harsh.
So heading to the next question.
Yeah.
It's a double failure situation if you have the experience in one domain and want to go ahead with another one. While transitioning from core domains, you will encounter the lack of exposure on a specific domain, and for startups, the lack of experience can be very daunting. So what are your views on the same? So while it is a theoretical question, my experience has been that, so every 1 year, 2 year, I kept, changing the tracks. But in that period, वो 6 महीना, 1 साल, 2 साल जो कर रहे हैं, I may not have the entire understanding of the thing, but for whatever I was doing,
I had a very good sense of it. And I think 5-6 months, 1 year is a good enough time to get good sense of something. If I have to learn how to do sales, you have to learn how to build hospitals, you have to learn how to build products, you have to understand how to do fundraising, for example. A lot of these things, those core skill sets you can learn really fast. So I think what you need to sort of take a parallel step to this is that a job is not a job. A job is a collection of skills. आप कौन से skill उठाना चाहते हो, that matters. Okay. So I'll just give you one very interesting anecdote. So I hired a product manager, or rather an APM, an associate product manager. He was just out of the college. Guy last year, like similar time, right? He was passing out. Around September, October, I hired. And I asked him in his interview, "Bhai, karna kya hai tere ko life mein?" He said, "I want to become a great product manager." Okay, fantastic. That's a good aspiration to have. तो करोगे कैसे? तो बनना है, तुम्हें डेस्टिनेशन पता है, पर करोगे कैसे? Right? And he had no clue. जाऊंगा कैसे? Because great product manager is just a packagized term. Product manager, great product manager. ठीक है. But then, who is a great product manager? That product manager has certain skills. So your aspiration at that age should be कि I will spend the next n number of years to gain those skills. And if I have those skills, I have a potential claim to be a great product manager. And I also told him that there are many so-called great product managers who do not have the designation of a product manager. They're great. They're doing completely different stuff. They might be CTOs of the companies, but they are great PMs. They might be domain guys working in operations, but if you were to just abstract their knowledge, you realize that those guys are great product managers. And so who are great product managers? What are the skill sets you need to have? If you just simply focus on those and try to gain those skill sets, all of that put together will make you a great PM. Designation then is just an outcome. I had the privilege of hiring a couple of product managers in my life. So right, I gave them good money and good titles and then fired those guys. So title ka kya karna hai yaar? Right? Title does not entitle you to the knowledge that is the burden of that title. So we should not mix up. A lot of us mix up कि यार, for example, if I'm the CEO, I'm a know-all, be-all, मुझे सब पता होगा. No, my job is to just take risk. I'm the risk taker. I'm the most qualified risk taker in the team. I know the least, right? But when it comes to take a risk, I will be the first one to jump in and say कि अच्छा चलो ये करते हैं, पंगा लेते हैं life. That is the only qualification I have. I'm the chief risk taker of the company. That's it. So then that there are more qualified people in the company who know their work, right? So I hope that answers this thing. Feel free to reach out to me at any later stage also. I may not have answers, but I will find you somebody who have an answer. That is my core skill set. I am achalta firta Google. I don't have answers. I'll connect you to the answers. Good. Chalo. Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience in this field and answering our queries. It was an eye-opening session with you, and thank you everyone for being such a great audience. This was Swasti Verma from Netka with you.